Good morning, Arsene. Big game ahead. Team news was that Bakary Sagna was definitely out.
Yes.
And Abu Dhabi, there was a question mark. Any more news on him?
He will have tests today, and then I will decide today if he'll be included in the squad or not tomorrow.
Your level of confidence, where is it at the moment?
It's a 50-50.
Okay. Obviously, a very big game against Tottenham. Tottenham in fine form. A lot of talk about them at the moment, but I'm sure that you'd say it's about what Arsenal can do rather than what Spurs can do.
Yes, exactly. It's an interesting game because there is something at stake, but we are confident and we are on a good run in the Premiership. If you look at our record, it's very good in the recent games. Just focus on our strengths, that's it.
And one of your strengths this season has been a defensive record away from home. It's the best in the Premier League.
Yes, you would forget about that when you listen to people. So it's good to remind.
You're going to get a lot of questions in this press conference. A lot of logic is going to be applied to a North London derby. Is it a game that you can't apply that to? Form goes out the window, as we know.
It's a derby and a very intense game as usual. So I think it's always very tight, it's always a big fight. But if you look at our record, it's very good in the last 15 or 16 years. So of course we want to continue to maintain that record.
And just finally from me, away from the derby, there's talk about goal line technology being employed in the Premier League from next season. You've been an advocate of that, so your thoughts on that development?
I'm very happy if it happens. So it will be very interesting, and will it stop there or not? That's the only question mark you have, but I'm very happy that if it comes in, yes.
I know it was at the Emirates, Arsene, but the North London derby this period last season was a massive turnaround. You went into it 10 points behind and ended up obviously above Spurs. Is it as important this time? Yes, of course. It's a very important game because it's in the final part of a championship, and the outcome will give a big boost to the team who wins it, of course. Do you think the winner this weekend of the game will end up being the team that's the top team out of the two? Not necessarily, no. Because there's still 10 games to go, and in 10 games a lot can happen, you know. You feel though, like last season, you can overhaul Tottenham and stop them? I think 17 years since they finished above Arsenal in the Premier League. Well, that record should incite you to any optimism. Bakary Sagna's out, we know that. He's done okay against Gareth Bale, hasn't he? Yes, done very well. So what's your answer going to be this time? Always the same, focus on our strengths and forget about your opponent. But Gareth Bale is obviously somebody you need to plan for. We don't plan for anybody. Your form, the Premier League, I mean there's been talk about crisis, but in the Premier League it's, out of the last 5, it's won 4 and drawn 1. Yes. Is that something that you've kept a focus on? Well, look, in the last 12 games we won 9, we drew 1 and we lost 2. So we made 28 points out of 36, and so that's of course our record in the Premier League is quite good. So what we want to do is just in the last games, in the last 10 games, I said that after the Chelsea game, we cannot drop points, you know, and we go just in every single game like it is a must-win game, and we will have exactly the same approach. Back to Spurs, just one more, if I may. Under the current regime, under ABB, there's lots of talk about, you know, they've got the formula right, the power changing in North London. Is that something you think now is going to happen, that Spurs are going to become the dominant team? I answer this question for 15 years now,
And it's only down to the results on the football pitch, you know, and on the quality of our display that will decide that. And overall, Spurs had always good teams since I'm here. They had Ginola before, they had always great players, Anderton, they had always great players. Always, but we just focus on us and try to win the game. That's all you can do.
You've always had the support of the supporters here. There's obviously occasionally there's a few dissenting words and fans who don't necessarily agree with the decision that you've made, or a purchase or a sale.
Mm-hmm.
But would you ever consider publicly criticising the Arsenal fans?
I never did it. So I know where you want to take me, but I have a sense of solidarity for every single manager, because that's because I'm in the same job, because I know what they can go through, and as well because we are all human beings, you know, and that people forget that.
Would the term interim be an obstacle for you accepting a job?
I don't want to go further on that.
Arsene, after a fairly traumatic week last week, what's been the atmosphere like in the camp this week after you won against Aston Villa? Did it really lift things?
Well, we were very down after the Bayern game, of course, but we responded well, and I believe that the strength of a team is to shorten crises, you know. Where one team loses 2 games, some lose 6, and that's why for us was a vital game against Aston Villa, who had recently a good record away from home. So to manage to win the game, people said we won petty, maybe, but we won. So the atmosphere, of course, it was more a relief, and there's no euphoria, but it's relief, and we want to build on from that.
Abu Dhabi has said that a win against Spurs this Sunday will really lift you in view of the Champions League obstacle to come. Do you agree with him on that?
Of course, every defeat makes you quickly weak. You know, you have seen recently Barcelona, they just lost 2 games. Look, the effect, the damage it has on their confidence in the second half against Real Madrid. It's quite amazing how fragile a team can become of such a big strength, because just 2 knocks. And every team needs confidence to express its potential.
We were talking about your traumatic week last week. This week, the man in the spotlight is Rafa Benitez.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's more pressure on managers than there was 16 years ago when you first started? Do you think we need?
Yes,
they need an
there is more pressure. Yes, I would say yes. Overall, yes, because we have more media interest. There's many more medias, and every decision today is analysed, and not always in the right way, but that is the price we have to pay, because we have get more money from media as well. We live in a very comfortable world on the financial side, but the price we have to pay, of course, is what we have to give back is that everything is analysed, and we are more under pressure.
Is it less enjoyable than it was 16 years ago?
Football is exactly the same enjoyment.
No,
you know,
managing.
Watching a football game, playing a game on the pitch, preparing for the game is exactly the same. The environment of the game has become a bit more difficult, but you are not in football for that. You're in football because you love what's happening on the pitch.
Can I ask you finally a couple of questions from me about Gareth Bale? Is he the player that you feel you least like to face in the Premier League?
No.
Who would be?
There's nobody special that you least like to face. All players have different qualities. There is no player that you'd absolutely are scared to meet. You know, what is always important when you're manager, you're more focused always, you worry, and that has not changed over the last 15 years, is you always make sure that your team is at its best and prepares well and focuses on playing the football we love. What is important before a game like that is just to focus on our game and forget all the rest.
Sam Allardyce says he's worth 50 million now. Would you be prepared to pay?
I don't like to speak about 50 million
You've got 50 million.
In England. Sorry.
You've got 50 million now, apparently.
In England, it's always about numbers. I think when you speak about a football player, I don't see a number on his shirt. I see his qualities, his deficiencies, and that's it. And what he can improve, how good he can become. I love football. All the rest, the numbers, is of very little interest for me.
Yeah, you said last week that it was a bit difficult, a bit too soon to start comparing him with people like Messi and Ronaldo, but do you feel that to fulfil his potential that he may have to go abroad?
No, I think everybody wants to come to England. I don't know why the English players should go abroad. I think we have the best league in the world here, the most passionate and the most interesting as well. So I don't see why any player should go abroad. All the players who have gone abroad, when I speak to them, they want to come back.
Arsene, with Gareth, is there any sense of regret that he didn't develop his career here at
No,
Arsenal?
you know, that's not our worry today. He's not the subject of our worry for the next 2 or 3 days. We would just want to prepare. We have great players in our team, you know, and it would be a complete mistake to focus on any player from Tottenham.
Are you surprised how Tottenham as a club have been able over these last few years to close the gap on Arsenal and bring in the type of players who maybe could have supplemented your squad here?
No. They're always, since I'm here, there's a club with always a huge potential.
You just mentioned the figures were mentioned. Obviously, we had the interim results. Do we make too much of a big thing about this £100 million you're supposed to be sitting on, waiting to spend for the right player? Is that an important figure? Are we right to do that? Or?
I don't know. I don't see what that will help us to win the game on Sunday. There's no transfer market at the moment, and so we do not think. I'm not sitting today here thinking, oh, I have so much money to spend. What is important is that the players we have play well on Sunday.
Sorry, it was just a more general question away from Sunday's game, because you have some people say, well, Arsenal have got all this money in the bank, yet we're not able, we're not at the moment able to compete on the pitch. Would it be better to make £1 profit and have a trophy in the cabinet?
If there's only one trophy, is the championship, you know, and the real value of a team is where you finish in the championship. Let's see where we finish, and let's see how we can strengthen the team. If it was just sorted out by the numbers, you would always have Chelsea or Man City champion every year, you know. That's as simple. Chelsea finished 6th last year, what people forget, and that's the real value of a team for me, is the championship. So what is important is now for us is to see where we finish in the championship, and after that strengthen the team to come back and fight for the championship. I think we have a basis, and if some of you are really interested in deep analysis of a team potential, I can sit down with you and show you why we have the potential to do it, and then we can have another discussion again in the press conference.
Pencil that in then.
Good.
Arsene, you've said that recently that nerves have played a part in perhaps your less convincing of performances. Is there a danger that the emotion and frenzy of a North London derby could mean that nerves strike again?
I believe where you are right, it will be important to be calm and focused, and to get the two together right. The nerves play always a part in these kind of games, and for us it will be very important to keep just focused on what we want to do.
Is it something you do as a team, or is it down to each individual how they...
Each one can help the next one, you know, each player can reassure, can help, so it's both. the general team feeling will come from every individual being calm.
You've talked a lot about the team starting matches slowly
Yeah.
in the big games. How do you solve that? I mean, how do you work on that problem?
We will work on it, and but forget that we are at the start of a game and imagine that you are in the second half.
You've obviously got a few players who won't have played in the North London derby at Tottenham, particularly Lucas, Santi, those kind of players. Are they aware of how big a game it is, what it means to the fans?
They are aware of what we want to achieve and where we want to finish in the league, you know. They don't need to be explained. Players who have experience are very ambitious players. These players want to play in the Champions League, so they know what is at stake and they will be completely focused on what we want to achieve, of course.
I mean, in terms of the rivalry though and the history between Tottenham and Arsenal, is that something that you make them aware of? Or are they
Not
already
at
aware?
all. It's just the next game that we want to win, and that's it.
Which is fine for me. Just in terms of the running, does what happened last season with the turnaround being so far behind and then overhauling Tottenham and finishing in that top four, does that give you a psychological advantage, do you think, regardless of what happens on Sunday in the running?
The game on Sunday will have an important psychological importance for the rest of the season, of course. So I believe that the way we will play on Sunday will have a big impact on the rest of the season.
The fact that you turned it around though last season will surely give you and your team
Yeah,
confidence.
anything can happen again, you know. Let's not forget that we are not only two teams, we are Chelsea is involved as well, so they are not too far. And Man City, I think, is maybe a little bit too far, but you never know.
Arsenal player you know very well, Emmanuel Adebayor. Let's say he's not had the best of times at Tottenham this season. Have you been surprised by that, and would it be wrong to discount him as a threat on Sunday?
No, we'll take everybody seriously. Adebayor is a good player, and we'll of course take him very seriously.
Why do you think it's not worked for him this season?
I don't know, but it's always a difficult season when the players go to the African Nations Cup before they have to go, and after when they come back, it's always a difficult time.